Good afternoon and welcome to Advertising on Google. We're going to be looking at some of the things to consider before you start advertising on Google. And we're also going to look really live into how you get that started, whether it's through your Google My Business account or through the Google Ads platform proper itself. So let's have a look at what we're going to be looking at today. The three main activities when it comes to marketing. By the way, my name is Dante St James. I'll be taking you through today. I didn't actually introduce myself on behalf of the ASBAS Digital Solutions program delivered in Western Australia by Business Station and across the rest of the Northern Territory and Queensland as well, in partnership with the Regional Development Australia Brisbane and Treaty Business Consulting in the Northern Territory, where I happen to be located right now. Thanks for joining me. It's a bit hard to learn on a Friday, I know, but hopefully I can keep you on board for a bit of this. Now, what I will let you know, though, is you can use the Q&A and you can use the questions in the chat. So I really love that if you take part, if you come across something you're not sure of, or if you want to dispel some myths or rumors you've heard about Google advertising, please just jump on in, ask a question. I'll be answering those live as well. Again, thank you, and we'll get underway. So there's three main activities when it comes to marketing. It's all about getting known. So I call that your branding. That's about people getting on social media, letting themselves be known by using video ads, stories, creating reality shows, public relations, media releases, TV ads, radio ads, bus shelter ads, billboards, all that kind of thing that lets people know a little bit about who you are. Secondly, there's what we call the get found, and Google certainly lives right in the smack in the middle of this. So does Bing, Siri, Maps, and directories like Yellow and local search also count in that one too. And then your stay known. That's where you're retaining customers who've already come in to know you and may even found you and may even have dealt with you before. This is more about retention, and also when people aren't just quite ready to buy from you yet, but they do know who you are. They've heard your name, they understand what your reputation is and what it is you deliver. So they're ready to deal with you when they are ready to deal with you. And that's through newsletters, continued advertising on your Facebook and your Google, things like that. Loyalty programs, which are a really interesting way of getting people to buy more from you in the future. You use CRM systems or customer relationship management systems. They tie in with, say, your news, your newsletters and your email automation stuff like your MailChimp, Active Campaign, a lot of those kind of systems. And then you got things like your deals or your rewards or very special one-off offers that you like to give people as an incentive to work with your particular program again, or to continue to buy from you again and again. So advertising on Google, to be clear, in all of those things is smack in the middle of the get found part of marketing. So it's what we call usually around the middle or the bottom of the funnel. If you know what a sales funnel is like, at the top of the funnel, you've got a whole lot of people jumping in who are not necessarily aware of who you are and not necessarily aware of what you do. But at the middle of the funnel, they are aware of what you do, but may not be, they might be doing a bit of research. You're not quite ready to buy from you just yet, but they're researching, they're finding out more information about what you do and whether you suit what they're looking to have done. And at the bottom of the funnel is where the pointy bit is. That's where the customer drops out the bottom, and you've got someone who's ready to buy from you. And that's where most people try to put their advertising into, because they want to get that point where someone's got the intention of buying right now. So that's a great place to be. But if you haven't done all that work up higher in the funnel, get people knowing who you are, to understand and to trust what it is you do and whether you've got a reputation for that, then all this work at the bottom of the funnel can be a little bit wasted, because they get there, they see you, they also see about 20 other results there, and they're likely to go for the one that they most trust, they most understand, or they've been referred to, or there's some kind of reason why one of those sticks out more than yours does. In a sea of Google results and Facebook ads and all that, you want to make sure that yours stands out because they know who you are. It's the same thing. We go to a supermarket, we go to buy cola from the shelf. We see a great big shelf full of Coke and a great big shelf full of Pepsi and a great tiny little bit of home brand, or, LC Ice Cola, or whatever they call the LC Ice Max, or whatever the strangely named generic brand colas are. We're most likely to go for the things we know and understand because we've tried them before. We understand them, we understand what they're about, and we know that we can expect a certain consistency and quality from them. Same thing when you go to the supermarket shelf of Google, you see all those different brands lined up with you. Someone's going to pick you or someone else other than you based upon those kind of decisions they've made. So in that get found bit of marketing, we're looking at, advertising on Google. But before you actually jump right in and go, yeah, let's advertise, let's throw $150 into Google and see what happens, you got to make sure you're very, very specific about what it is you want to advertise. Because the fun thing about the Google ads is that unless you're doing something very, very strategic and very pointed towards a very specific person and what they're searching for, you're just going to look like an ad. And whilst that's the point, it is an ad and it's going to appear at the top of Google, we still want people to understand and be very clear on what it is your service or your product actually does. What is in it for them? So we're talking about, for instance, if they're searching for a plumber, they want to know straight away if that plumber is available 24 hours, because the chances are their pipes are blowing up at night when most plumbers are back at home watching the footy or asleep in bed. So they want to know, oh, I can get this one and it's a 24-hour service and I can get hold of them right now. So you need to be very specific in what you're pointing towards. Are you, as a plumber, pointing towards somebody contacting you at 3 a.m. to do an overnight plumbing repair job? Or if you're somebody who's selling a, let's just say a consultancy service, so you're consulting to personal trainers, the personal trainers are likely to be calling you outside of hours or in the middle of the day, because most of their clients are in the morning before work and after work in the afternoon, or maybe during the lunch break. So you want to make sure that you are very much advertising to people at the right time in the right way that they're going to get you. And also in each ad, be very sure you advertise just one thing. Someone who's looking for red shoes is specifically looking for red shoes. They will look, okay, women's red fashion shoes, and they expect to see ads that are selling them red shoes for women, not blue shoes for men, not sandals, not thongs and Havianas. They're looking to find that very specific answer that they're actually searching for. When people have its intent to go in, and the intent just basically means they're hot to trot and ready to buy. So they're in there for red shoes. They want to buy red shoes. They want to get those red shoes right now. So every single search result they get should point to red shoes, not to a category saying women's shoes. And especially if you're paying for an ad, making sure that what's in that ad is very tightly tied to exactly what the person is searching for, what their intent is. If their intent is that they're, red shoes for wedding in 3 months, then actually throwing a product for them to buy right now may not be appropriate. So you can have a version of your ad that's for that kind of intent and a version of the ad that runs very, very close to when they're ready to go, yes, I'm going to buy right now. And you got to know who you're up against. You got to know who else is selling those red shoes, who else is doing those consultancy services to PTs, who else is a plumber, and knowing how they're operating. And it's really easy to see, because any time of the day or night, you can search in your area for something that's in your particular niche. And even if it's outside of your area and you're selling something that goes beyond state borders or beyond, suburban lines or city areas, then you've got this opportunity for yourself to go and research what others are doing in your niche elsewhere. And they might be selling from Sydney into Perth, or they may be selling from Albany into Busselton, or they might be selling from the Gold Coast into Brisbane. You want to know that. So if you search then from within those areas that you're looking to sell in, and there's a lot of tricks that can do that are quite advanced. I won't go too much into those right now, except to say you can use things like VPNs and the developer tools on Google Chrome browser to be able to run your searches from other locations. But that's not what the topic of today's is. This is very introductory. The research part of it is a whole other deal. So you also need to know how much you're willing to spend, what is reasonable for how much you can spend in a month. Now, not everyone's going to have $20,000 to be plowing into Google every month. I get that. But you do have to be realistic. You're not going to get away with spending $25 for a month. This is not Facebook. And even Facebook these days, you're looking at roughly about $35 to really get any sort of monthly spend that's even meaningful for them. So how much are you willing to spend in a month in total? You really need to start looking at $300 plus a month. And that would be because, think about it this way. If you're spending $10 a day over 30 days, that's $300. $150 at $5 a day, you're going to have those clicks chewed up very, very quickly. And if you're willing to pay, say, $2 per click that's coming through to you, then you might find in your particular area that you're selling to, you won't have the chance to be able to get more than 2 clicks. out of that $5 a day. But if you're doing $10 a day, you might get, 5 clicks before that budget's gone per day. You might want to, okay, reduce that down to say, 25 cents per click, but just realize that the lower the per click rate, the less often you're going to show up on the top of those search results, even when you're paying, because you're not the only one paying. It's an auction. He who offers the highest per click rate is the one that's going to head to the top the soonest. And it's he who has a lot more money to spend is going to be able to keep going to the top of that pile. So that's one of the problems where it's, where you come into Google, that you have to be willing to be watching it a lot and making sure that you've targeted all the right keywords to understand what exactly you're going to be paying for. Because saying that you're looking for people who are searching for lifestyle products is very, very broad, and you're going to use up your clicks in no time. But if you're looking for people who are specifically looking for Australian blue cypress essential oils, it's a very, very specific thing. You can probably pay a lot less per click for that, because a very specific thing sold by very specific people in not many places. There's not a lot of competition for it. It's just Laurel saying to research your competitors and what they're doing on Google. Just a matter of Googling the keywords. Yeah, absolutely. It's not really that much more complicated, although that's not telling you how much it's going to cost you. There's a little tool we're going to go into very soon that will tell you a rough range of how much it's going to cost you when you start advertising against those particular keywords, I suppose. Oh, that coffee's good. Okay, next, you have to have an understanding about how people search too. You have to look at what is the content that people are going to read on your website already. So the stuff that's already performing quite well on your website are the people are searching for a specific scent of essential oil. If they're really coming to your lavender essential oil as opposed to your sandalwood one, well, then you understand that it's most likely that people are going to be looking for that lavender essential oil in greater numbers than what they're looking for Australian blue cypress essential oil. You can also ask friends what they would type in when they're searching for you. And this is a really good piece of research, because you may say, oh yeah, I should type in quality leather red shoes for women. And that's a really good keyword for you, or a key phrase for you. But then you can ask a friend to say, look, if you're looking for those red shoes that are over there on my shelf, what would you type into Google to find? They just go, red shoes. And you go, okay, maybe I need to go a little bit broader. So get a few people to tell you what they would type in. That gives you a nice idea of the kind of keywords you'll run with. That'd be the things that people are searching for in your analytics that point to certain pages on your website. That's a good guide. What people say that they would type in that are around you. And the ultimate tool is probably Google's keyword planner. Now, if you're selling globally or in America, Europe, bigger countries, much bigger populations, even in Indonesia, which is way bigger population than us, you can say, well, we've got a lot of data to work from Google's keyword planner. And you can also use a lot of third-party tools. There's a lot of third-party tools which would help you, things like SEMrush. All of the SEO tools, search engine optimization tools, will help you to see what the keywords are. And the one called SpyFu gives you a lot of estimations of the kind of traffic you can expect, but also the kind of price you can expect to pay. But it does require you to put it against much bigger populations. In Australia, if you're trying to sell very specifically to Brisbane, very specifically to Toowoomba, very specifically to Mandurah, or very specifically to Alice Springs, you're not going to get meaningful enough numbers from these third-party tools. You may get them though in the keyword planner. Even in somewhere like Alice Springs, there is not a search even in Google's keyword planner that just takes Alice Springs. You have to look at whole of Northern Territory minus Darwin. So you really are, like in smaller populations, it is harder to find meaningful keyword predictions, but you do have some options in there, particularly for East and West Coast in the bigger population centers. Yes, you've got that. In Darwin, yes, you've definitely got that. A little less options in Catherine and in Emerald and in Roma and Charleville and Karratha and Port Hedland and Kalgoorlie, but definitely some good things in the southwest corner of WA, and definitely good things on the whole coast of Queensland and the top of the Northern Territory. So what we're going to do now is pop out of the presentation and walk into what I call my Google My Business. So if I go to business.google.com, I've got quite a few locations, quite a lot of them, actually pages and pages of them, of locations that I manage for other people through Google My Business. Now, yours may look a bit different to this. When you go into your Google My Business, if you've got one, yours may just show the one thing. So I'm going to say maybe this one. So yours may look a bit more like this. See, that will look way, way more familiar, right? So in there, you can get a lot of examples of the things that people are searching for when they're searching for you. So we can look at, I've had 101 views in the last, 28 days of this particular profile. I've had 67 people searching for me direct by the business name. That's really weird. Or people discovering me, which is the majority of them, which is really interesting. It will give me an idea of, I guess, the insights here will tell you how people are searching, what they're also searching for. So this is a really great idea for you to get some ideas for what you're going to advertise against. So I've people looking for consultant for marketing in my area. There's less than 10 of them, but that's still some. They're looking for digital marketing in my area, digital marketing agency in my area as well. So those are the things I'm looking at. I can go back a bit further over the last quarter and say, look, most of the searches are coming through for accredited and marketing in some sort of combination. And that's how they're finding me. So it's a really interesting way that people are actually starting to find me in there. But if I go to one of my bigger businesses with bigger search results, say, let's go to, not that one, this one right here. And if I'm starting to look in the last, 7 days, I've had 28 days, I've had 380. So there's more people coming through. So if I go into my insights for that, it'll show me now a few more, because I've had a few more in there, what people are looking for. The majority are looking directly for me, but they might be looking for building 3, level 1, 631 Stewart Highway, looking for computer training, which is an interesting one coming up. Digital marketing in Australia is very interesting. We're coming up for that as well. So I'm getting some ideas of the things that people are already searching for when they're looking for what I do. Now, there's not a lot in there, except I can say computer training, digital marketing agency, digital marketing company, and digital marketing course. There are probably some terms that I could really use, I guess, to build ideas on for what I'm going to put in my Google ads and what the keywords I'm going to use. Now, once I've got all that information, I can start creating an ad directly from my Google My Business account. This is the easiest way to do it, and probably the quickest, and the way that most people at the moment are doing it. There is another way which goes directly into Google's ads platform, more complex way, but it's certainly more customizable. But this is a good start. So if I go to create an ad now for ClickStarter, it's going to take me into my express version of my ads. So I need to make sure I've got the right password in there. Let's hope I do. Thank you, LastPass. It now opens up Google's ad platform and says, okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want to get more calls? Do you want to get more website sales or more signups? Or do you want to get more visits to our physical office? Well, I don't want to do that. Calls, yeah, maybe not. Maybe more website sales, so more people signing. Yeah, that sounds about right. So you go next. So it's really important that you understand what that goal is, because for some people, like tradies, for people who are not at a computer all day, but they may have a phone on them, or maybe definitely a phone on them, then calls may be the most important thing for them to get. Now, what I want to do is make sure people can find me in lots of different places. Now, the specific target areas I want to have is Darwin, maybe let's just say the whole of the Northern Territory. No, not there. I want to go Northern Territory. So now I'll take the entire Northern Territory that I want to get. Do I want 25? Yeah, I want far more than 25 kilometers around the center of the territory. I want specific zip codes, cities, or regions. So now I'm going to go Northern Territory. Sorry, I was in the wrong spot there. So yep, I want to go the whole of Northern Territory. See how it's updated that? But then I want to also add in Cairns. If I can't type it properly. So it's saying, yeah, I'm going to add in Cairns. I'm going to add in Townsville. I'm going to add in Broome, Kununurra. Doesn't want Kununurra. Let's go Port Hedland. Yeah, it's finding that one. So there's plenty of little dots along the coast of where I'm selecting those cities. Mount Isa. And I can take something a little bit bigger like Sunshine Coast. I'm going to put a bit of a dot down there. Or I can go, I just want to find the whole of Western Australia, and it highlights the whole lot. So now I've highlighted those 2 areas plus a few towns in Queensland as well. I go next. So I've selected where I want to advertise, the audience I want to find. Now I look for what are the themes of what I'm looking for. Now for this particular one, I'm looking for SEO. I want to advertise SEO services. So it's already said, oh, well, if you're SEO, then I know what to do with that. I know what kind of keywords to pick up there. I don't have to have you type in very specific keywords. And this is the difference between advertising through Google My Business and advertising directly with the Google Ads system. That's a more complicated version of this, is that this makes it a lot easier for you to do. It's going to do a lot of the smart work for you. So I'm looking for SEO services to advertise in here. I go, now I start to write my ad. Now I'm not looking to build a website. I'm looking for need your website to be found more often. Now I've got 30 characters there, so I need to split it up a bit. Just found more. Yeah, there you go. We're Aussie. We don't outsource, which is very important with SEO, I think. No outsourcing. And I can go in that my further headline is honest SEO services. And then I can say my description, how I want to say a bit more about that. I can say, fixing websites to make them more findable on search engines naturally. Now I could say organically, maybe that might be a question, that might be something organically. And I can have a second line of description there, but I think that that's enough words for now. So I'm just going to do that, leave it there. Now it's got my address. I don't necessarily want people coming into my address. So let's see some more layouts of this ad. It's going to show me what it looks like on the desktop. It's going to let me look like, it's going to show me, excuse me, what it's going to look like on mobile search. Also on Google Maps, how it's going to show up there. So having a shorter description. See, look at that. That's just not that. That doesn't look great on maps at all. It's too long. So what it is, it's showing me that I might need to cut things down. Look on the mobile, it actually cuts out the third bit. So I may want to go, look, I'm done with that. I'm going to cut out this first one. Just do the second one and maybe cut this down to a much shorter sentence. That's down to more findable. So it's saying, look, I can enter a description in there, but the problem is when I look at that, it looks different now. So headline 3 is showing me that there shouldn't be a headline 3 there. In Google Maps, it fits in more of it, but still cuts out the no outsourcing. So I might really need to even consider cutting it down further, just to need your website to be found. Cut that one out too. And it's going to say headline 2 and headline 3, but it won't actually go through and show those. There you go. And so I now know that need your website to be found is going to show there. Or I can go for what is going to show there, just cut down the amount of letters. So just go to shorter sentences. This is where you start to get a bit more creative with how you're going to look. So on a desktop now, that's not really what I'm looking for. Most people are going to find me on here and on here. Look at that, much better. And on Google search, shows up better on mobile, still shows up really well on desktop. On partner sites, it still makes sense over here, makes sense over here. Now, by mentioning the word Google, I may have my ad actually blocked. I probably need to say on search and on maps. That way I'm not mentioning a Google product directly. We can say fixing websites to make them more findable in Australia. So I want to add a little bit of detail there just to stop it from messing up my preview. So looking good there. See my layouts on partner sites. Yep, makes sense. On the maps, makes sense. It shows it all. Google search, makes sense on there. Makes sense on there. So now I've done with that, I can then write more versions of that. Now, you almost always should have variable versions of your ads. So I'm going to write a variation on that. This one's going to go SEO, doing your heading. It's okay. We fix SEO. we fix SEO. So I can make it shorter. And that's giving me little tips along the way, saying it doesn't really want a lot. I was doing too much punctuation, too many exclamation marks, and it's too yelly. So it says, no, I don't really want you to do that. Locals in Australia for SEO. Trusted, proven. So write a few of those words I think are going to be like really good, strong, powerful words for people when they see them. The fact that I'm saying locals in Australia is going to be a really big one. So yeah, I'm happy with how that all looks. So now I've got 2 there, done. I want my ad to go to there. Well, actually, what I really want to do is I want to have people go to either my profile, my business, Google My Business profile, which if I go to search for myself on Google, it's going to go to this stuff over on the right. So that's where it's going to bring up. So if it's going to go there, it's like, oh, okay, that's really good. That's good information. They can easily get in touch with me for a quote, find my website or call me directly. They're all really good things. We like that. Or I can say, no, I want to go to a very specific page on my website. So let's go to my website and I'm going to go to a page that specifically mentions what people are looking for. Now they're not looking for all this. They're looking for specifically my SEO services. So rank better in Google. So once that page comes up, I'm going, that's the page with the information on it that I want. And it does come up a bit slow today. I think it's because I'm using Zoom and broadcasting at the same time. So once that all comes up, now it's taking away, although it's down there. So I've got a lot of information on SEO for people to work out what they're going to do. So I'm going to go back to my ad, and instead of copying in, so let's wipe out these extra pages. I want to enter in that specific web address as the one I want it to go to, because I don't want it to go to my homepage, because my homepage has got too many options for too many different products. I just want them to go directly to the product I want them to deal with and the product that's mentioned in these ads. By the way, you can see that I've got 2 running. I would normally run at least 3 variations of ads, because you never quite know which one of these versions is going to resonate better with the customer who's looking for you. So we go next. Now we set how much we're going to pay. So it's suggesting that we spend $25 a day. That's $760 a month. That's a little heavy. Or you can spend $18 a day. I want to enter my own budget because I'm going to a broad area. I'm going to spend $10 a day. So it's about $300 a month. It's saying I'm below the typical competitor budget range. I'm like, well, know what I probably need to do now? Knowing that I'm advertising in the whole of Western Australia, I've said basically that I want to advertise into Perth, which makes me going up against a whole lot of other people who are much bigger than me and much have deeper pockets to advertise than I do. So I go, look, I might not get noticeable results. So I might want to go, you know what? I need to go back and reset where it is I want to advertise to. I'm going to cut Perth out. So instead of the whole of Western Australia, I'm just going to choose very specific locations in Western Australia. So I'm going to choose Albany, some of the bigger areas. Oops. Albany, Western Australia. I'm going to add Esperance. Doesn't want Esperance, but I'm probably spelling it wrong. No, doesn't want to find it all. I can look for places like Busselton. Yeah, it's got that one. Margaret River. No, doesn't want that, but Busselton should find it, and Bunbury. So I can then make that down to a much more manageable level and add in a few in Queensland as well, like Mackay. We might go down to Bundaberg as well and into Hervey Bay. Who I missed out on the north, Rockhampton and Gladstone. So I've got most of those major towns in the central and north. So it's telling me that a potential audience size that I'm looking at is potentially 4 million people. I don't think it's actually taken out some of the areas like Perth yet. I'm going to take Darwin out and just do the Northern Territory. So it's still saying there's a lot of people in there. That's not, oh, because I'm advertising Albany in New York. Let me just change that. Albany, Western Australia. It really does not like Albany, does it? Oh, I'll have to stick without it. We'll go Kalgoorlie then. Surely you'll find that. Yep, there we go. So that's a bit shorter now, 1,260,000. So what I'll find now is that the budget they're going to suggest should be a bit lower because I'm not trying to advertise into a major city. So here we go, set your budget. It's now saying $22, so not that great a difference. But it still lets me go, if I want to pay $10 a day, it's just a little bit higher. It's just slightly lower than the competitor range. If I went up to $15 a day, then I'm into it. So if I go $12, yeah, I'm going to reach about approximately that many people a month and get that many ad clicks per month as well. So if I go, yeah, that's what I really want to do, 365 bucks, I set my budget and go. And now it's going to say, okay, review all your settings. You're looking for, now I'm not selecting specific keywords here. I'm just saying for people who are generally searching SEO settings. Now Google is going to match up probably 100 different keywords that match people who are looking for SEO services or search engine optimization services. Yours could be homewares. And you might go, well, I sell scented candles, I sell cushions, I sell throws for the couch or throughs for the couch, they call it on Kath and Kim. Or they could be selling furniture, soft furnishings, any of those kind of things, or ornamental vases, and that will be in homewares. So this makes it easier. I don't have to go and find all of those keywords. So we go next, and it's then going to say, okay, we want to then start making, you're going to like go and start charging you for this if you've got your website against it. So it's going to start doing that straight away. And now it's confirmed that that's now going to be a thing. It's now pending under review. What I might want to do is go back in and look at my campaigns and just cancel that for now, because I'm not actually intending doing some Google ads just right now. So I go into my campaigns and just turn this one off on pause. It'll still go and actually try and approve the content of the ads. And now I'm in here, you're actually seeing a much more complicated view of Google ads. Notice how we went from that very, very simple interface to now there's a lot more going on. There's campaigns, there's ad groups, there's ads and extensions, and there's landing pages and all this additional stuff and warnings going on. Now you don't have, that's a good question, Laurel. Laurel just asked, do you have to choose a keyword theme or can you opt to just have your own? You can have your own. The idea is though, when you're using the express version or the simplified version of Google Ads, it is geared more towards people who are spending a lower amount and looking for as many results as they can for that lower amount. But you can go through this particular interface. So for instance, if I want to start a brand new campaign, I go campaigns, and then I can go new. I'm going to have my new campaign. So this is now in the Google ads. So this is when you go into ads.google.com, just up the top there, and that will drag you into the full version of Google ads. So if I was to skip that all together and go ads.google.com, it'll ask me to get started, and it's going to sign me in automatically to my particular Google account, which is going to look very, very similar to the version we just saw. We'll close that one off. So it's going to open it up again, and I'm in the full version. Now I can look at my campaign. So this is the overview saying this is like the most recent thing I ran was for Oasis in February. On this particular account, I've got about 15 accounts. So I've got many, many more accounts. I'm just using this one particularly. But the campaigns in here, it shows me I've got none enabled at the moment. That's because I haven't actually turned it on. I paused it. It's not approved yet, but I can start a new one from here. Now in here, Laurel, you were asking about choosing your own keywords. This is where you're more likely to do that. Let's load a new campaign. What do we want to achieve out of it? I want to achieve website traffic. I want to advertise in search, but it also allows you to run display ads around Google's partner network sites. You can add shopping sites. So if you've got an e-commerce site that's selling red shoes, for example, or dresses, swimwear, anything it is, candles, soft furnishings, something physical, then you can link through to your Shopify site or your BigCommerce site or Weebly site or your Wix site and be able to sell directly from there. So it actually gives you the results of when we're looking for women's red shoes, not shows, shoes. Well, it knows what I'm looking for. Look at that. You'll be in those. That's what you want. You want to be in there. And there's a lot of them. A lot of them. And you can go into Google Shopping and it gives you even more red shoes for women. So you want to be in these. You want to be in those ads. That's what that is. You want to do a video ad, it allows you to advertise on YouTube primarily. So if you wanted to if you had a 15-second ad or even a 5-second ad to play as a mid-roll, pre-roll, or whatever on YouTube for those who don't pay for access to YouTube, then you will be able to do that from here too. And then you can go, well, you can run ads across a lot more areas like YouTube, Gmail, Google Discover. There's different places, but for the majority of you, when you think of advertising on Google, you're thinking of search, right? People who find your results in search engines. So we go, yeah, we want to do search. My businesses, what you want to do is you want people to reach your goal at a particular website. So I want it to be that one. It says, okay, what it's going to do now, it's going to do a scan of that page and say, oh yeah, that's okay. I can do something with that. And it's going to say, okay, yes, get out of the guide. Don't need that. Now I'll give it a name. So I'm going to go December SEO campaign, because I'm going to run this one in December. I want it to go across the display network, which means displaying search results when you go to things like any sort of news.com.au, NT News, the West Australian, the Courier Mail, the Gold Coast Bulletin, any of those kind of news and Fairfax/9 newspapers. Their online news takes Google ads as well. Funny that News Limited takes Google ads when they're always trying to punish Google. I don't want the display network. I just want searches. I want people who are searching now for a solution to an SEO problem that they have. If I want display network, I'd have to create display ads that look better on that network than just simply words. I want real displays that's showing up, something a bit better, like a video or something. So I can look at that and go, that's where I want to go. I only want to advertise in a particular set of locations, not the whole of Australia. I want to advertise in, let's just say, Cairns, in Queensland, Mackay in Queensland, Darwin in Northern Territory, Kununurra. Yeah, it's got the 6743, that'll do. I'll take that. Port Hedland, Broome. So much of Northern Australia, really. Mount Isa. And I think I missed the big one, Townsville. There we go. So if I'm going to take all of Northern Australia, all those major centres, it's now going, okay, we're going to put you into those areas. Even gives you an idea of how many people are in them. So you've got an idea of how many people in their broader regions are going to reach. And then as we go down, the language is just defaulting to English. That's who I want to reach. Now I've got the option in here to select the kind of audience I want to go based upon what we call their affinity. So we can look for things such as, we want to pick people who are, say, parents of toddlers, parents of infants, homeowners, business services, SEO and SEM services. That's a great one for me. That's the equivalent that, of the last area we're going. SEO services was a category of search that takes in a whole lot of extra keywords that I don't have to search for. Now with me, SEO and SEM services, SEO is search engine optimization, SEM is Google Ads services. I do both of those. So in that case, I want it to be, okay, I'm happy to be searched for all of those. But I want to go, you know what, I want to get some ideas. Okay, so advertising and marketing. It's got more SEO and SEM. I do web design, so people who are into that as well. Business services. It's picking up all those there based upon the content of the link I looked at. And it's not, notice how they're all in that advertising, marketing, technical, all that sort of stuff. It's already figured out that, oh, we know what you are based on the link you put in that you want people to go to. It's really smart. Or I can browse myself. So take all these out and browse for things that I want. So we can say, we can advertise to people. And this is very much like Facebook ads, really. You can search for the kind of person. So you can go, are they educated? Are they married or single? Do they own a home? Are they parental? Are they parents or not parents? Not so much who they are. I can go what their interests are, what they are acting. Now, this is really, 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 really powerful. If you're selling something that's to do with home renovations, with changes in people's lives, you can actually get people who are actively looking for cars, actively looking for clothing, actively looking for baby and kids products. So you're automatically being shown, those ads are being shown automatically to people who actually have an intention of buying something, because everything in their behavior that Google can pick up is showing that they're right now looking at children's and baby products or beauty. or business services, or dating services if you're doing some matchmaking there, or if you're looking for events. You want to get in front of people who are actively looking for events right now. And there's about 100 million to 500 million impressions every week based in Australia for people who are looking for events. So it gives you little bits of information. If you're looking for people who buy gifts, you've then got 1 billion to 5 billion searches per month across Australia. Now that will be a lot less if you're just targeting to particular regions like Darwin, Townsville, Mackay, Toowoomba, Busselton, Bunbury, or even a bigger city like Perth. You're going to get a lot lower numbers of searches naturally, but it does tell you that you're only going to get in front of those people who have an interest in there. So once you go to areas like Yoni, and Laurel's asking, if you go to an area like Darwin, would that audience be too narrow? Well, you kind of want the audience to be narrow. This is the difference between digital ads and, say, TV and radio. You want that getting in front of the least amount of people possible that have the highest possible intent to do something with that search. So you want them to, you'd be better off getting in front of 100 people of which 90 will buy from you than getting in front of 500,000 people of which 90 people would buy from you, because you're going to get a lot of what those phantom clicks. You're just going to get tie kickers clicking on your ads using all of your stuff. So actually the small amount of people that get to see your ad is actually a better thing, unless you're doing their brand recognition stuff. And you probably wouldn't do that on Google. You do that on Facebook, you do that on LinkedIn, or you do that on TV and radio and billboards if you're trying to get people to understand who you are and what you do, rather than getting them to make a purchase right here, right now. So I'm just going to pop back out of there. I'm not going to look at audiences at all in this one. They've got lots of ideas for me. I want to actually find those people myself and put it in front of just people who are searching for specific keywords. I'm not looking for their intent or anything like that. I just want them to find a specific keywords and they know what they're looking for. I want to spend $10 a day in those areas. Then it's telling me how much do I want to spend for conversions or clicks. I'm going to say clicks. How much per click do I want to spend? Now, given I've only got $10, I want to spend $1 per click. That gives me a maximum of 10 clicks a day that I can get on there. So that's really limiting me. I might want to go a bit shorter. I might want to go, let's just say 0.5, so 50 cents. That'll give me a maximum of 20 clicks per day. The problem being, though, that I'm not necessarily going to end up right at the top, but considering I'm going to very niche markets, I'm not going to all the really huge ones, going to the sort of next tier down, the major regional areas for a very specific kind of product, I might be able to get away with it. So I'm going to go, yep, I'm going to do that. It's going to maximize the amount of clicks I get. So it's going to say, it's aiming for people not to just to see my ads, but to also click on them. Now I can start to do things with my ads. I can start to have additional stuff. Now, you notice if I go to, excuse me, oh, bless me. Thank you. If I look for SEO services in Cairns, I'm going to start, no, in shopping. Sorry, get out of shopping. SEO services in Cairns. I only got Cairns in my mind at the moment because I'm going there tomorrow afternoon for a holiday. So you'll see there's different kinds of ads. You got this one here, SEO Shark, and they've got these call outs, additional things you can look at. Now that's taking up almost a third of the screen. But if I then look at these little ones, like the Bark.com, paddle leads, they're only taking up little tiny little bits there. I'm really drawn to this one because it's giving me an ability to look around a whole lot of different things. Now, I don't know why I'd be clicking on a photo gallery when I'm looking for SEO services or directions. I'm looking for maybe special offers, and pay-per-click advertising makes sense. So I can actually create an ad that looks like that, or one that looks like this. Down here, these guys have actually created what they call structured data. So they're answering questions for people. That's not an ad. That's something they've created within their website itself. That's their organic result. Funnily enough, though, these guys are not located in Cairns at all. They're a national agency. They've just optimized themselves to be the #1 in Cairns. The ones in Cairns are actually these guys. They're actually located right there in Cairns. This guy is definitely not. And these guys are. So you start to see that there's a big difference. A lot of people advertising this sort of stuff that are very good at getting themselves optimized to show up in Cairns, even though they're not in Cairns, but they serve Cairns. So I want an ad that looks like this because that's taken up a lot more space and it's pretty much monopolized my attention on the screen already. So if I want to do that, I want to do these site link extensions. These allow me to go, okay, what do I want to find as a site link extension? I want to create a new one. I'm going to call my site link extension based upon content in my website. So I go, I can go how SEO works. So I can go to that point. So I'm going to put in how SEO works because that might be something that someone's actually asking. Find out how it works before you spend. Yeah, too much. And I want them to land on that particular page, even though it's the same page as all the other ones. I can go over here. Maybe they're looking for SEO. They might be looking for something else that I do. I can say, well, maybe they're looking for Google Ads. So I go to the Google Ads page on my website as well. And I go to Google Advertising. And I can maybe call that one advertising on Google. Or advertising on search, I might say. Skip the wait and go straight to the top. It's going to show me in a sec what all this looks like. And I still want to go to the same place, that one. And then I can look at other pages around my website and say, if I'm looking for, let's just say WordPress websites. So go WordPress, SEO friendly WordPress. Get your WordPress site cranking. And I want it to go there. So I can have 3 of those or maybe a 4th because remember that one we had there? It's got 4 of them. So I'm going to go, let's find another link. I might just go straight back to my SEO page. I've actually got a few SEO results somewhere and go, what have I got in here? I could say our process in there is on that page, our process of how we do SEO with you and how we engage it with you. So how we do SEO for you, the process we take with you. Just with you. And then link it to that page. So it's actually a duplicate one, so I'm gonna have to go to another page. So let's just say, for instance, there was another page such as this one. So ideally what it would want me to do is go to different pages for each site link. I'm gonna go to that one as an example. If I save that now, oops, needs a second description. Collaborative. It's going to prompt me if I've done something wrong. So I need to use my description line too in all these. Get your WordPress site cranking with great SEO results. Sorry, my typing is terrible today. Absolutely woeful. And then this one can be collaborating with us works. Okay, let's go to save now. It's liking the look of that. So it's found my 4 site link extensions. Do I want them then to be able to add more information about my business in there? Yeah, I do actually. I'm going to have a couple of call outs. I'm going to create my own ones. I've got a whole bunch of them in here, but I'm going to have a new one that says the text is going to be Australian owned and operated. Too long. Australian owned, Australian operated. No offshore, no outsource. So save that. So there's not some more little call outs you're going to have. And what's all going to look like now, if I save and continue that, it's going to show me roughly now what my ads are going to look like. So I've got to go, what are the keywords I'm looking for? If I'm looking for SEO, I'm going to look for SEO help. SEO optimization, they're all looking pretty good. What I can also do is let it scan my website and it's finding all these things that have got to do with my website link. So I'm going to go, yeah, we'll do that, that. See a business, yeah, Google ranking checker. I'm going to take a lot of these ones. Let's take them all. Now, if I'm going to look for all those kind of searches, now what I'm doing here is what's called a broad match, which means it's looking for SEO help, but it might be looking for help SEO assistance or SEO please help me. It'll look for variations that are around that particular search title. SEO optimization could be also looking for SEO optimization with a Z, or SEO optimizer, or SEO optimize. It'll look for variations that are related to those search terms. If you're looking for a phrase match, that's where you put it in like a, you put it in like a, not brackets, in apostrophes, quotation marks, and you're saying it must match this very specific phrase that I've typed within quotation marks. And if you put it like this in keyword in the parentheses, then it's got exact match. It'll look only for that very exact word that you put in there. So I also put in here and go, not that one, this one. I'm looking for an exact match for the word SEO. Or if I'm looking for instance, something that's very, very specific in a very specific area, I might say that I'm looking for the exact keyword, a phrase that says SEO expert in Darwin. And then my next one might be SEO cans. And I'm looking for that exact match of that word. Exact matches are a lot less expensive than broad matches, and you'll get a lot more stuff that you're looking for. So a good question again from Laurel, can certain keywords be more expensive, exactly like specific things to do in Alice Springs? Not necessarily. In fact, it can be more expensive for you to go very broad. What you're doing is things to do in Alice Springs, and you make that a broad match. It's going to get things to be in Alice Springs, things to do around Alice Springs, and they may not be things that necessarily match exactly what you're looking for. So you've got to make sure that if you do go for that broad match, which is a keyword with no quotes around it or no brackets around it, then you've got to understand that a lot of things are going to come up there which are a lot less precise. And if you're going to get people clicking through to you who are looking for something that you don't actually cover, you're paying for those clicks, even though they're not looking for what it is you do, and they're not interested in what necessarily you do. So it can be really, really useful to you to be very, very, very clear in what you've got in your ad about what you want to do if you're going to go for these broad matches. Broad matches do give you more clicks, but those clicks are more expensive. Phrase matches and exact matches, they're the ones that are going to cost you less per click, but you're going to get a lot less clicks. But they're very, very high intention. They're very much searching exactly for that term that they typed in and that they found you on. So I'm doing a bit of a mix. I'm doing that as an exact phrase, that is an exact keyword, and these ones as broad match. So I go, yep, let's save and continue on. Gosh, this hour's passing very, very quickly, isn't it? You lose a lot of time in this. So what I can do now is start to build my ads. So build what the ads are actually looking for. Now it's built those out. It's taken information from my actual page on Google, and it's sort of built out that ad for me myself. So if I'm really happy with this, I'm going down, looking at all the headlines that are in here. They actually look really good to me. Yeah, that's great. I want to work with that. But what I also want to do, so you notice how these are the links that I've had calling out, those call out, the site link call outs. So monthly SEO to climb the rankings, your first steps toward ranking better on Google. They're actually filling out a lot of the information for me. If I go to desktop, I can see then what it looks like there. So I go, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with what that looks like. Then I can start to see that it'll start now to go in and do my campaign. Now it's no traffic because I haven't actually set some of the very basics in there about how much I want to spend and who I want to spend it with. So I can go and fix it or create another ad group. So there's no traffic coming in because I haven't actually, what have I not done? I thought I actually chose all my stuff. There we go. Oh, so it's telling me then there's quite a few things in here that I can't expect because there's no traffic for it. So let's go there. I'll take out those exact matches. It's a bit happier with me now. No, still wants me to fix a few things. So there's issues in here I need to fix up before I go. So it's saying is that it's not expecting me to find anyone looking for these things in those particular markets that I looked at. So I might need to go back and go, okay, what's wrong with my ads? Have I entered the wrong places? Do I need to search across the whole of Australia? Do I need to go more abroad? Or is it telling me that at 50 cents per click, I'm not spending enough to get any result? So if I went back and said, okay, I want to enter my other locations, it saved them all there. I'm going to have to put my cost per click up and go, I'm going to spend $2. Go through the same thing. See if at $2 it's expected. So it's saying, oh, look, still no traffic expected. It's saying that at the average cost per click is $1. I'm not spending quite enough to get these keywords. So I might need to reduce some of the keywords maybe. I'm gonna have to fiddle around until over on the right, the estimates start matching up and delivering me some stuff. Because at the moment it's not. It's too broad or too specific or something. So I'll just go SEO. Let's see what it gives me now. No, it's just not finding anything. I think what it is that SEO is a very expensive thing to advertise for. That may be what it is. If I need to put my budget up, even though it's taking me all that, there's something in my ads that it doesn't like the look of. And it's saying you're not going to reach enough people. We've got all these locations, people in or what showed it. The language is right, the budget, if I was to set it up to maybe $100 a day, let's see if it gives me any more. The cost per click at 10. Let's see what we can find. So it's saying the average cost per click, it's still saying there's no traffic expected. It's not really giving me an idea. So there's something in here that I'm not doing right. So I've got to go back and find that, what it is that I'm doing so wrong. I've entered the locations. I said where I want to go to. I've said the language. Do I want to select an audience? Maybe that's because I didn't actually select the audience. I want to go targeting. That's why I made that little mistake. So let's go through now. Still telling me no traffic. Try again. Yeah, it's just not telling me what exactly is wrong. It's saying to fix something, but it's not telling me what that thing is. So it's really annoying sometimes. It actually feels like I've hit a bug. This doesn't, like, I'm not seeing anything I've done that's absolutely, definitely the wrong thing. So I'll go SEO, go back to my ads. Let's say find this related website, add a whole bunch of keywords. Still telling me there's no traffic. It's not going to get any clicks today. You think after spending $100 a day to find someone that serve the ads through to, wouldn't you? So yeah, usually it would go a little bit, a little bit cleaner than this. For some reason, it doesn't like what I've done. Go to my audiences again. I want to target. Maybe I need to look for people who are specifically searching for stuff to do with my stuff. So advertising and market, SEO, find myself an audience, go back to $20 a day, cost per click of $5. Got my site links, got my call outs. I can also add a phone number to my ad, so I can do that as well. Let's just say, what's one of my phone numbers in there? None of those, maybe that one. And we'll go back through, saving again, got all those searches. Yeah, there's something actually going really wrong here. It's telling me I've just got no way of getting any sort of traffic. I've got all these ideas in here, all these keyword ideas. I've added them all there. Maybe I can add a new ad group and go same thing again. Add some more keyword ideas. Save and continue. So I've done, pretty much everything right. It's created a bunch of ads for me. No, now it's going to make me create some of my own. So I go, okay, headline can be SEO that makes sense from an Aussie company. And my third headline can be no hassles, no worries. So it's going to have a bit of a, it's going to vary these up. It's going to give me a rating of whether it thinks I've got poor. I can add more headlines, so I can go no hassles, no secrets, easy SEO for business. I can go SEO for small business. That's telling me more and more that I'm getting a bit better because I'm adding more headlines. Add a description, SEO for businesses that don't want to spend a fortune. So this is sort of being a bit backwards and forwards. It's usually a lot more clear than this. So I want them to go to certain URLs. I don't really need to do that. I know where I want to send them. Let's create a second new ad. We're going to send them to SEO site checker, SEO made simple, Aussie SEO company. So it's got a few variations it can play with. Make a fourth one and go 100% Australian owned. And then I can start playing my description, which is going to be, again, SEO agency that won't rip you off. It's a big call, isn't it? Now let's see if it's going to let me spend some money. You can see why it's actually a lot easier to go and do this through Google My Business because it does so much of this stuff for you. In my case, it could be, so 2 ads have issues that will prevent them showing on Google search. Let's go, fix it. All right, it doesn't have description 2, so it wants me to have a description 2 in there, too few elements. So I go from Aussies who know your market. Another one in there for Aussies who know your market from an agency who you can actually call. So what it's doing is doing variations of these ads. So I'm getting a bit closer now. So yeah, you can see why most people do this through Google My Business. It's so much more simple going through there. And again, it's still showing me problems. So there's things I need to do. This campaign settings is because I think it's because I haven't added a credit card to this account because I haven't used this account for quite some time. You can see why everybody wants to go through their Google My Business setting because creating an ad from here, way simpler. You can choose your audience, and in smaller budgets, like most of you are going to have as small businesses, that are going to be less than $300. And yeah, that's considered to be a pretty small budget in Google land, is what's going to help you to use this particular interface. So you Google My Business rather than going into the depths of the Google Ads platform. As you can see, I'm hitting problems. The issues they're telling me, it's saying to fix something. It takes me to where it wants to fix. There's something in here that it doesn't like. So go in here, it wants me to fix this ad. It needs another, SEO help for small business. It just wants me to have more things in there, but it's not descriptive as I'm going along. Add that one, add another one really, what's more. Let's see how it does. Are we finally starting to get somewhere? And then it wants my campaign settings. So that's something I need to do. I need to add a valid credit card in there. So I know what that one is there. But if we go back to here, we're doing this, doesn't this seem much more simple? I want more calls. I want more website sales. I want people coming to my shop. So much more simple to do this, but it's not quite as easily customizable. It's not, you're not going to get that kind of drilling down to very, very specific keywords. That said, at $300 a month that you're going to spend on this thing, you're not spending enough money to be super specific. And most of the markets you're going to go into, unless it's Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide, not even Darwin. Darwin's like very, very small compared to these places. So Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne, those kind of cities, then you need to go and get a lot bigger and a lot more complicated. And you can use the full ads manager to go into those. So have you got any questions you'd like to ask in there before we wrap up? Because I know we've gone a little bit over. This has been a bit of a long one, hasn't it? Lots of backwards and forwards. So hopefully you've learned along the way how to basically get in there. My 100% biggest recommendation is to go from your Google My Business account first. Your first attempt to do Google Ads, please do it there because you can learn basically what it is. And like I showed before, when I created the ads in here, I was then able to show you then how it brings you into this full one. One little tool I'll show you before I go is what's called the Google Keyword Planner. If you're inside here, and if you're inside the Google Ads platform, you've got a little tool here, tools and settings. You've got the keyword planner. If you want ideas of what people are searching for and in what volume they're searching for it in, this is where you find it. So you want to go discover new keywords. You want to put maybe your, I'm going to start with my website address, and it's going to give me ideas of the things that people are searching for related to what's on that particular page. I get my results, and it's going to show me now within Australia. So it's got location of Australia. Checking page rank comes up between 100 and 1,000 times a month in Australia. So it could be 101, it could be 999. It just gives you an idea, but then tells you how much you're probably going to have to spend per click to get a click through to your website based on those searches. Now, what you'll notice, the ones that got lots of searches have a low level of competition, but a high cost per click. But if you go to something which is like a lot lower, say for instance, between 10 and 100, there's still a fairly high cost per click there because that's a very high value kind of thing. So it's going to give you some estimates about how much it's going to cost you per click. Roughly the amount of people within Australia that search that. Yeah, you can narrow that down. You can narrow that down to Darwin if you want to. Take out Australia, just look in Darwin, and then those numbers are going to change, and it's going to tell me checking page rank is now one of the higher ones. Or I can make it, let's just search for things that have lots of searches in that market. So not many, it's not a highly searched for thing. Google website rankings, so all these guys, and it's telling me that not really anybody is paying a lot within this market to advertise to those terms. So I'm not getting a lot of information on people advertising for that over the last 12 months. So in Darwin, it's a great place to advertise if you're an SEO service because there's not a lot of competition. But I could make that Perth, and it's going to be a lot bigger. And we're starting to see then results of how much competition there is and what the things are that they're searching for and how much it's going to cost you. Yeah, there's $39.30 for an improved SEO click at its very top. You'd want to be making hundreds out of that to be spending that. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you got something out of that. Remember that you can access people like myself through the ASBAS Digital Solutions platform. We do know that if you've never, ever had any sort of contact with the ASBAS Digital Solutions platform and you're a new ABN into the system, you may be able to qualify for a free session with someone like myself. I'm not on there quite yet. I think about sort of late next week, I'll jump back into the program as an advisor. So you get an hour with me. Even so, if you have been on the program before, your first action is going to be $44, including GST. And after that, $66 for every follow-up plus GST for an hour session, either via Zoom if you're interstate from where I am, or if you're in Darwin, we can do an in-person thing as well. But I'll have more information about that in future stuff and through the Business Station website where you can find out more about the ASBAS program. So thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend. I'm going off to Cairns tomorrow afternoon. Cannot wait. So wish me well, and I'll promise I'll see you in about 2 weeks' time in some more of these ASBAS webinars. Thank you.